So it's Clemson back in business. What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Reef, the Jack, the Reefer, and I got another banger video for you guys today. But first off, like, comment, subscribe. Let's be special, baby. Let's be special. But first off, I just want to give a quick thank you to my friends that made me a YouTube plaque. You guys know who you are. Really appreciate it, and I absolutely love it. You guys are watching this, I appreciate it. Thank you. So, unsurprisingly, Clemson took care of business against South Carolina State. If we didn't take care of business against South Carolina State, we would have some larger issues to address. But thankfully, we put them away pretty handily. Decent showing from the offense. DJ, bit iffy, I will admit. For the first two series that, you script before the game, he looked pretty good. He was like 7 for 10, 7 for 8, something like that, and he was pretty lights out. But then once we got off the script and started kind of calling plays in the game flow, that's a little bit iffy. His throws weren't there, the touch, he was throwing behind receivers, overthrowing screens. It's just iffy. I'm not quite sure what's going on with them, but I was happy that they left him in for a while and just tried to give him as many game reps as possible. Personally, I would have left him in there longer. I probably would have played him the entire game because, honestly, he needs as many reps as he can get. Because, in the grand scheme of things, we need to figure out if DJ is our guy. Because otherwise, if he's not our guy, then come January, we get the early enrollees and Cade Klubnik comes, maybe we have an open quarterback competition. I'm not saying that. I'm not giving up on DJ by no means. By no means am I giving up on DJ or saying he's a bad quarterback. I still believe that he's got plenty of potential to lead us into the playoffs and do pretty dang well. Honestly, pretty dang well. Now, it was nice to see, too, that they were kind of integrating Will Taylor as sort of a wildcat hybrid type guy, because they're using him as punt returner, which is interesting, because he's listed as a kind of a backup quarterback / wide receiver. But we all know he can throw the ball. He played quarterback in high school. He's going to be playing baseball for the Clemson baseball team. So we know that he's got a lot of potential. And right now, we're just using him for kind of read option stuff. But, I think we feel very confident in his arm and having him throw the football. We just don't want to show that yet. But that was quite exciting to see. And then obviously defense looked pretty good. I'm not going to knock them too much just because we were kind of rotating a lot of guys in and out. Like Brian Brzee was not playing the entire time. James Skalski was playing a fair amount. Levante Bentley was getting in there, which I like to see. The defense looked pretty good. Secondary was making some plays, but as we started to rotate more guys in and out, got a little bit more sloppy. Just a little bit more sloppy. But you know what, Brett? I will give you credit, Brett. I complained all summer about you playing your kids, and last week against Georgia, you did not play your sons. I was quite happy to see that. I was happy that we were having guys that were actually recruited to play football for Clemson out there, have the best athletes we can out there. And against South Carolina State, when we're up, if you want to toss your sons out there, go right ahead. It's kind of the same thing we do with the Sweeney kids. We put Drew Sweeney back to return punts. We throw screen passes and do little touch passes to Will Sweeney to get him touches. And Will Sweeney almost got a touchdown. He was pretty dang close. But unfortunately, there was an iffy holding penalty. But I've got no problem with the coaches playing their kids when we're playing South Carolina State. We're gonna blow them out. We're gonna do all right. But against the big boys, and even when we get to ACC play, some teams are iffy. Georgia Tech, maybe we can get away with that. Unfortunately, to their issue with their quarterback Jeff Sims being hurt, I don't see them as much of a threat as I thought they'd be coming into the year. But when we're playing your NC State or large, or even Wake Forest is a pretty respectable program in the ACC. That, I don't know about that. But the running game really was active today, which I was happy to see. Will Shipley absolutely looked the part. Made me question why we were giving up on the running game last week against Georgia. Because Will had like 2 rushing touchdowns, and he looked shifty, he looked fast, he looked as advertised all summer. which I was quite happy to see. I was disappointed that my guy Lynn J. Dixon wasn't getting so many touches, and somebody asked Dabo about that afterwards, and he said that basically he's in the doghouse right now, and he needs to grow up. That's all Dabo would say, is he needs to grow the heck up. So I don't know what that means exactly. All I know is when you're a senior running back on the team and the head coach is telling the media that you have to grow up, that's not really the best look, let's say. Maybe there's some questions there, and I can see why, Kobe Pace, Will Shipley are getting more of the touches. And it was nice to see that we were playing around with our offensive line combinations too. I was very happy to see that they put Marcus Tate back out there, because toward the end of the Georgia game, they pulled out Marcus Tate, but I'm convinced that Marcus Tate is part of the solution for the offensive line. So I was very happy that we stuck him in there. We were rotating him around. Sometimes he was playing guard, sometimes he was playing tackle. We were trying to get different linemen in there, different combinations, see what works best. Because the offensive line, it's not set in stone. Just about any guy on that line is replaceable right now. And I'm still convinced, too, we need to give Tristan Lay a look. For those of you who don't know, Tristan Lay is a 5-star offensive tackle prospect, just enrolled this summer. Came into camp a little bit underweight. And just because of that, the coaching staff's kind of hasn't been using him as much because he's just not as big as they want him, as they want their offensive tackle, offensive lineman, which I understand, but at the same time, we need athletes on the offensive line, athletes to keep up with these just stupid athletic defensive linemen we're going up against. Because D linemen are basically just running backs in high school, and then they just go to D lines that are just kind of a little bit too big, too slow for college. I mean, most of these D linemen played running back in high school, to be honest with you. But overall, great performance for Clemson. Very happy to get the win. On to next week, on to climb that mountain. And we got some help this weekend climbing that mountain. I'm sure everybody knows by now that the Oregon Ducks upset Ohio State in the horseshoe. Very excited about that. Super excited. A little disappointed. My guy, Micah Pittman, didn't go off like I thought he would. I just like Micah Pittman. I think he's a good guy, good receiver. But they ran the ball way too much. I mean, Oregon's leading receiver only had like 34 yards, but between the quarterback and the two running backs they used, they each had over like 120 yards each rushing. So, rush-heavy team, and basically Oregon's entire offense was just run the ball left in Ohio State. I don't know what's going on with that, I guess, left side of the offense, but right side of the Ohio State defense, but it Swiss cheese over there. Every big run, Oregon was just going left, and Dye was just gashing them. Absolutely gashing them. Now, nobody expected Oregon to win this either, because they were missing Thibodeau, their stud defensive end, who's projected to go top 5 in the draft. We'll see. People are saying number 1. I don't know about number 1 yet. I don't know if he's that much of a game changer. I don't know if he's a Chase Young type level game changer. But top 5, I fully expect him to go top 5 in the draft. And also star linebacker Justin Flo, who unfortunately just seems to have a bit of an injury bug. I mean, last year he tore his meniscus, ended up redshirting. So this is his redshirt freshman year. And the first game of the season, he broke his foot. So, I really feel for the kid. 5-star prospect out of high school. Really feel for him. Hope he gets healthy. I don't know if maybe diet change, yoga. I don't know what, but I hope he figures something out and he stays healthy. Great career. It also is quite nice to see Notre Dame and Texas A&M both struggling against their opponents. A&M only won by 3, and Notre Dame barely escaped with a touchdown at the end there to take the lead. Both those were kind of nail biters, very much nail biters, but the combination of the Ohio State loss, the Texas A&M being close, and Notre Dame being close helps Clemson, honestly, for the playoff push. Because let's be realistic here. Texas A&M, we know that A&M team that we just saw play Colorado is not beating Alabama. I'm sorry, it's just not happening this year. It could. I could be wrong, but from my perspective, it's not happening this year. So, I mean, that's one loss for A&M, bumping them out. And then Notre Dame's a little bit tricky. They have a difficult schedule coming up. I believe they have Cincinnati and some other teams on there hard to play. So we'll see how they play out. But I mean, Oregon's going to get bumped in there. So right now, realistically, we're looking at Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma. They could bump Oregon all the way up to number 4. We'll see what they do with that. Oregon. Then they're going to put Texas A&M. And then they're going to stick us right there, hopefully. They could stick Ohio State in front of us. I would not be surprised if they pulled something like that. And then put Ohio State behind Clemson. The reason I put Ohio State behind Clemson is because Clemson realistically only lost because they threw a pick 6. And that was it. Their defense was strong. Everybody else was strong. It was just DJ just made a mistake. Errant throw. Shouldn't have thrown the slant. And yeah. Which DJ didn't really answer those concerns today because he had some bad throws today against South Carolina State. But we'll see. You know, Dabo, I was not happy to see Dabo really got on him on the sideline. So we'll see how he responds to it. And hopefully it elevates him and takes him to the next level. But realistically, for the college football playoffs, if Oklahoma could lose, that would be great. Which very well could be the case because, I mean, week 1 they struggled against week 1. They still have a tough schedule. I mean, they still have to play Texas. They still have to play Iowa State. So they still have some tough opponents on there. Texas A&M, I don't think they get past Alabama. That's kind of a tough game. So I mean, that's 2 teams right there ahead of us that I think are going to lose. And obviously, it's always better to lose early in the season, because if you lose late in the season and fall back, the team that lost early in the season but looks better at the end of the season is going to jump in front of you. So I'm happy we got our loss out of the way. I think we have a pretty dang good shot at getting in the playoffs now. Now, do we want to be in the playoffs with our current offense? I don't know. That defense looks playoff ready. But the current Clemson offense in the playoffs, I need to see some ACC play before I make the official call on whether I think we should be in the playoffs now with our offense, or if we're going to be in trouble with our offense. But also, I got to give props to the Pac-12, getting 2 huge wins for a conference which many people have been tossing out the window and kind of counting out essentially. But I mean, last week UCLA beat LSU, big SEC program, big win for the conference. And this week, Oregon gets the biggest win in Pac-12 history since 2015. Yeah, 2015, when Oregon beat Florida State to get into the national championship game. It's the biggest Pac-12 win since 2015. Oregon beat Ohio State this year. And that's a great start for a conference many people were kind of counting out and tossing out the window, saying that they're one of the worst Power 5 conferences. But overall, happy with the Clemson performance. Can't wait to see what's next. Got some more content coming at you guys. As always, deuces. Tell somebody you love them.